Colleagues, almost feel like a major trespass to switch off that music. Do you agree? It's the Stellenbosch University Choir singing and setting the tone for our meeting here. It's our world champion choir. They will defend their title later this year again in Europe. And they had also been invited to sing for the King of Belgium in July. And on that world champion note, we would like to start the staff meeting. But before I proceed, Sanette de Jager, colleague Sanette, will briefly make sure that we have the appropriate interpreting arrangements in place.
Thank you. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Sanette, and I'm here with my colleague Risha from the Interpreting Service of the Language Center. We want to ensure that everyone's voice and personhood is considered valuable regardless of the language you choose to speak or are required to speak. So we are offering interpreting services into Afrikaans and English. I'm quickly going to explain to you how the equipment works. We have our stethoscope equipment because it looks like a doctor's stethoscope. So you turn it on by opening the ears. You change the channel by using the button in the middle, and this knob changes the volume. We are interpreting into English on channel 5 and Afrikaans on channel 2. We have handed out equipment. Is there anyone who still requires equipment? Then we'll bring some to you. Thank you.
There's one hand up there, now two hands on the top left there. Everybody had been served with the devices. Colleagues, very welcome at our first staff assembly for 2020. Welcome to those of you who are physically present and to those who are on other campuses and who join us electronically. Live streaming occurs at www.sun.ac.za. Streaming. A high quality recording will also be available afterwards. And then important, the email address, in case you want to post questions, is ecoms, I repeat, ECOMMS, ecoms@sun.ac.za. Colleagues, our rector prioritized staff meetings since his inauguration 5 years ago. The idea is that the assemblies are one of the forums where we directly interact, communicate, and commune with staff. We have 3 assemblies scheduled for this year. The next 2 will be held on the 3rd of August and the 3rd of December, respectively. Let me share briefly some practical arrangements. All presentations will firstly be done, whereafter we will have a final round for discussion, inputs and questions. Roaming mics will be available. Presenters will sit in front and will respond to your inputs. So please save your questions for that final round. And our colleagues on other campuses can send their questions to the email address that I've just given, ecom@sun.ac.za. Should your question not be dealt with in the light of time constraints, you can still send it to ecom@sun.ac.za, and the rector's office will ensure that the appropriate functionaries respond directly to you. We also bring under your attention that we will make the recording available on request of colleagues. So you can afterwards also make use of it You are welcome also afterwards, colleagues, to enjoy a light lunch with us. This staff meeting takes place after the annual institutional planning forum of the university. Inputs will be made firstly by the rector, colleague Wim de Villiers, by myself, by the registrar, colleague Ronel Retief, and by our Chief Director for Finance, colleague Manny Lombard. I will not introduce them each time again. They will come to the stage one after the other. Before I call on the rector to make his first of two contributions, colleagues, I request that we observe a brief moment of silence to express compassion and solidarity with members of the university community who had recently experienced loss, tragedy, and pain in various forms. So let us stand for a brief moment. Thank you. Prof. de Villiers, the floor is yours.
Baie dankie Nico en goeiemôre collega's. Good afternoon everyone. Alweni, Wamkilikili. It's good to see all of you here. So welcome to the first staff assembly of, it's the first of 3 staff assemblies planned for 2020. So how many of you, when you came to work this morning, saw what a peculiar day it is? 20-02-20. So yeah, 2020 vision is not necessarily always perfect, but at least it's clear. And so that's what we are aiming for this year, a clarity of vision. And it's propitious that I'm talking to you this afternoon. So, and that is what we said at our first big strategy meeting for the year. Which was the Institutional Planning Forum, which took place last week. And I'd like to provide some feedback, so as appropriate for our tagline, so that we can move forward together this year. So die oorhoofse tema van ons gesprekke by die IBF was dat ons nou daad by die woord voeg. Ons is goed om planne te maak. We have a solid strategy in place, but we are now moving from plans to action. And I think we're making excellent progress. So let me share a few exciting developments with you. And I'm going to follow the structure of our 6 core strategic themes. If I can move this forward. Okay. So the first core strategic theme is a thriving Stellenbosch University. So it's exciting for me to be able to announce that Africa will be hosting the Nobel Foundation Symposium in October this year. And this is a first such occurrence outside Scandinavian borders. And even more exhilarating is that the Stellenbosch Institute for Advanced Study, or STIAS, has been chosen as the venue. So this is a great honor. The symposium will be a yearly event with plans already in place until 2023. And the first symposium will take place from the 26th to the 30th of October, and it will be on cardiovascular medicine. So more details will follow soon, but this is truly quite an event where the Nobel Foundation, they will be inviting Nobel laureates in this field, and they will be spending the week here at STIAS together with other guests, we think about 150 or so. Discussing the topic of cardiovascular medicine. So clearly quite a coup for us. Dan die volgende is die inhuldiging van ons nuwe kanselier, regter Edwin Cameron, sal plaasvind die middag van Woensdag die 8de April. En dit vind plaas in die Kruiskerk omdat dit baie mense kan akkommodeer en ons verwag dat baie mense dit sal wil bywoon. Afterwards, the academic procession will walk up Victoria Street to the conserve, and tickets will be available to staff and students closer to the date. So hou jou weeklikse e-nuusbrief info@stellenbosch Unie dop vir inligting oor hierdie opwindende geleentheid. Our second core strategic theme, a transformative student experience. So last year, our students led us in taking a strong stand against gender-based violence as a university community. And good progress was made in setting up these 6 joint working groups that you can see outlined here on the slide. A rectorate member will form part of each of these groups, as well as staff from the relevant university structures, as well as students. So I encourage you to please contact any of these coordinators that you see listed there to get involved in this fight and against gender-based violence. Now, clearly a big talking point this year has been the temporary ban on alcohol in student housing that's provided by the university. And this was done as a kind of a pause button so that we can reflect urgently on the campus drinking culture, because it is a problem. And it's not just at Stellenbosch University or in South Africa, it's worldwide. It's a problem on campuses. And it is often linked to gender-based violence. And as you would have seen in Professor Skoonwinkel's email 2 weeks ago, our aim is responsible alcohol use. And we're on this journey together with students. Theme 3, purposeful partnerships and inclusive networks. So last year, Stellenbosch University was a founding member of the Global Alliance of Universities on Climate, the only university in Africa. And as you can see on the screen, we're amongst the 12 universities from 9 countries listed there. Very good company. University of Cambridge, University of California, Berkeley, Tsinghua University in China, MIT, London School of Economics, Imperial College of London, Australian National University. This is a seriously good company. So we're very proud of that. It says a lot about the esteem that we're held in, and it also speaks to tackling a big problem, a complex problem. Climate is a big topic. It is about the future of our planet, of humankind, and all this we need to address in a concerted fashion. So we are working to establish a school for climate, just as we did with data science and computational thinking. So watch this space. Networked and collaborative teaching and learning, another record haul of qualifications in December, nearly 6,000 certificates, diplomas, and degrees, and we're on track for a new annual record when we conclude the 2019 academic year at graduation this year in April. And it's always a joy to share the satisfaction and exhilaration of the recipients and their families, and I really want to thank you sincerely for doing all that you do to help make this possible. In terms of research for impact, the School for Data Science and Computational Thinking was launched last year. A research chair was sponsored by Standard Bank, and I'm pleased that we can also welcome here Professor Kanchukan Rajaratnam, who started as director on the 1st of January 2020. So welcome, Kanchu. Where are you? In the front left. So Professor Rajaratnam holds a doctoral degree in systems engineering from the University of Virginia in the USA, and he was associate professor of finance and vice dean in the Faculty of Commerce at UCT. He worked at Accenture and Nedbank. He's an NRF-rated researcher and a member of the South African Young Academy of Science. So let's give him our support in this exciting initiative. I'm also pleased to report that research chairs at Stellenbosch University more than doubled from 23 in 2013 to now 48 in 2019. And in January alone, in last month alone, we got 6 more, as you can see here. 2 from Rand Water, Public Health and Mechanical Engineering, Standard Bank, Professor Pumla Madikizela's Sarchi Chair, 1 in Crop Research from Villa, and another one from Capitec that's about to be signed. So we're very pleased to be able to have received and attracted these chairs to help us attract top talent to further position our university as a national asset with global standing. So and last but certainly not least, employer of choice. And one of our core strategic themes, because certainly we value our staff members, and it is about creating an enabling environment for our people to thrive. So you can see from these 2 recent examples, certainly exemplify that. At the top, 3 researchers from our Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences received the Women in Science Award. Kareem Kunseva-Gilola, Georgina Nyawu, and Witi Ngazi. And at the bottom, our very own participants in the Cape Epic, Francois Swart from the PAR staff, Francois Swart from Facilities Management, and Robert van Staden, who's the faculty administrator in the Faculty of Education there, and they're going to tackle the Cape Epic on behalf of our Move for Food campaign. So I really encourage you to also support them in that endeavor. And Professor Koopman will also expand further on this theme in a moment. So the article, or this article by SU researchers last year, caused great offense. But it also had an important impact for the university. A formal investigation committee was appointed, and indeed the article was found to be scientifically flawed and not aligned with the approved protocol. You can see the timelines of this investigation and where it was reported to Senate and also to Council. However, the formal investigation committee did not find deliberate intent by the authors to mislead. Now, we could learn from this, and we have instituted preventative steps to include, as you can see on the top right of the slide there, the formal adoption of the Global Code of Conduct for Research in Resource-Poor Settings. And we also instituted new research guidelines and mandatory training on responsible research conduct for SU staff and students. Last year, on the 3rd of December, which is the International Day for Persons with Disabilities, SU announced that we would focus on disability inclusion in 2020. And this flows from our commitment to inclusivity and equality for all, and our disability access policy that was approved in 2018 provides good guidelines in this regard. So we really want to work towards full participation and equality, so please look out for activities in support of this theme in 2020. So an outbreak, you're certainly aware of this, but an outbreak of a new coronavirus in China has been making headlines the past 3 months and has since been named COVID-19. And the World Health Organization has declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. And I want to assure you that SU is taking the necessary precautions. Our campus health services are implementing processes and procedures to ensure the safety of staff and students, and they are working closely with the authorities and our Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences on the latest protocols. There have been no cases in South Africa yet. We will keep you posted, I was at a meeting of USAF, University of South Africa, yesterday, both the EXCO and a special board meeting, and we were updated also by the National Center on Virology and Infectious Diseases. So this is something that we're certainly keeping an eye on at all our 26 campuses nationally, and we'll keep you updated too with that. So ek sluit af deur weer terug te keer na waar ek begin het. Ons voeg nou daad by die woord. We have a solid strategy in place. We are now moving from ideas to action. And by the way, this wonderful picture is not photoshopped, it's not doctored. It was just quick thinking and action by colleague Martin Forjun and his trusty iPhone on the way to the office one morning. So, folks, I think our future does indeed look bright. But it's thanks to the efforts of everyone working here to help us realize our vision and where we're going to. And this is for the sake of our students and our staff, after all, without whom there would be no university. So thank you very much.
Collega's, I will try to make 3 main points today. I will firstly focus on the staff health and well-being plan that we're busy developing, a few words on the external review of HR, and then also a few words on the staff well-being, climate and culture survey that had been done and completed last year. So firstly, on the staff health and well-being plan, I want to say, colleagues, that we do staff health and well-being in the framework of the commitment of the university to be an employer of choice. We don't want to use that expression as a cliche. We see it as a real commitment to say staff health and well-being is a priority for us. So last year, when the institutional leadership met, we identified staff health and well-being as a red light priority for the university. A task team was set up in the middle of the year under leadership of Dr. Pierre Vivier, the Senior Director of Campus Health Services. An advisory team had also been established to support the work of this task team, and the aim of the task team is to ensure that we have a staff health and well-being plan in place. We also held a major symposium on staff health and well-being last year, which informs the work of the task team. In December last year, the Rectorate adopted contours for the staff health and well-being plan. The plan will be discussed university-wide in the second term of this semester, and the aim is to establish staff health and well-being as an embedded practice in all university environments. In other words, we want to say staff health and well-being cannot be the responsibility of one office in HR or of the Campus Health Services Division alone. It must be our joint responsibility. These specific structures must give guidance and leadership and coordination, but we must all take responsibility, and therefore we will also establish environment structures for staff health and well-being in all faculties and past environments. One of the major contours that we work with is that staff health and well-being is both an institutional and individual responsibility. The external review of HR. Colleagues, you also know that last year we embarked on the review of HR, and let me remind you of the review of HR. It is to advance the division of HR as well as HR processes in all university environments. We want to ensure functional excellence for both the division and for HR processes campus-wide. The Rectorate specifically responded to an interim report of the external company that we have, Conferry, and emphasized that the model we want to opt for is the model of functional excellence. In the first report, Conferry indicated that our HR division and processes is not a burning platform, but we can really, in creative ways, advance functional excellence, and that's our aim. By the end of February, we will table on the 3rd of March, in fact, an operating model for HR to the Rectorate. This coming Friday, we will have a workshop with Conferry, and then at the end of March, a new or amended structure for the division of HR, which will impact on the environments, will be submitted to the Rectorate. Thereafter, we will be in the process of implementing the new structure. Conferry will lead us in a change management process, and we are sure that HR processes and practices of functional excellence will also advance staff health and well-being. The third and final point is about our climate and culture survey. The idea of surveys at our university is the initiative of the rector. When Prof. Wim started, he immediately said, we mustn't speculate about health and well-being. Let's do regular surveys. And in 2017, we did the first one with 720 staff members participating, and then a second survey in 2019, and an increased number of members participated, 1095, which is almost 26% of our staff core, which is good for this type of survey. The survey will be repeated at regular intervals in future, and we are thankful that Information Governance of Stellenbosch University conducted and analyzed the survey, and the steering and working committee is leading the process. Our first set of findings were tabled at the Rectorate on the 10th of February and at the Institutional Planning Committee forum last week on the 12th. After today, at this assembly, a tour of the campuses will be done, and the survey will be discussed in detail. And the richness of the current one is that it is also contextualized. It can say what's the situation in this specific faculty, what's the situation in this specific past environments. We would really like you to participate, to help us formulate recommendations to the Rectorate so that we can embark on an implementation process of the recommendations. During the discussions in different environments, we will also do some comparison and look at what the findings were in the previous survey and what progress or non-progress we have made between 2017 and now. In conclusion, colleagues, some of the findings that I just mentioned, but you'll discuss this in more detail, is that the survey indicates there are high levels of engagement, betrokkenheid, involvement of staff, sense of belonging, and especially a sense of there's meaning in my work, rates high. And there's also a sense that Stellenbosch University is committed to transformation. Some concerns were mentioned. This concern or challenge of health and well-being, the concern regarding recognition and appreciation, also by way of promotions, more and more rapid progress with transformation, more in-depth transformation, doing both quantitative and qualitative transformation, and then The groups that experience more challenges at the institution, a variety of experiences, are the black, colored, Indian, and Asian staff members and women at the university. And the last one that also really was emphasized as a priority that we should look is the fact that we should look at childcare facilities at the institution. Colleagues, so here's an invitation. We will give you the dates of when there will be discussions with different environments, and we would like you to participate and help us address challenges. But overall, it's a survey that energizes one to tackle also the concerns that had been raised. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Goedemiddag, collega's. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll try and be quick. This is not the first time I'll be speaking about Sun Student, and it's definitely not the last. It's a long-term project, and it is of institutional relevance. So my challenge is to give you new information every time that I'm on the stage. So I hope I can meet that expectation. So some of you might not be aware of the project yet. Let me just get back. Oh, Jana. Am I doing it wrong? There we go. So this is what it's all about. We are replacing our legacy system, our student information system that we've had for more than 20 years with a new, exciting, user-friendly system that will give us agility and an improved client experience. It will help us with reporting, and it will have modern interfaces. So this is what the hype is all about. So that is now the SIS solution that you need to imagine. I'll quickly touch on key priorities that we've identified for this year, what you can expect in 2020, and then also a quick preview of what to expect in 2021 as well. So in terms of key priorities, we have coined the notion of blueprint documents. It's not a new concept, but for Sun Student, this is the word that we work with to describe our process maps. We have 32 capabilities that we need to replace, and for each of those, we have blueprint documents. And at the moment, as we're speaking, in fact, there are colleagues working at finalizing these blueprint documents for the capabilities that we want to go live with first. We are taking a phased approach, so not a big bang approach of implementation, which means that we will go live with 8 capabilities in 2021. And we have to integrate these 8 capabilities with the peripheral systems in the university, and you all know there are many of those. So the Center for Student Information System Support, in Afrikaans known as CISU, or Jan de Tooy's team, IT, information governance, and many other functional stakeholders have been freed up and have been asked to commit their time to deliver on phase 1 this year. And then the challenge, of course, is to maintain our levels of service to faculties and past divisions while we are working on the system implementation. One of the other priorities for us is not to jeopardize the system implementation of SunFin that we'll be hearing more about. So we also have to integrate with them, and we're bearing that in mind. So what you can expect in 2020, this month and in March, we will be finalizing the last bucket or grouping of capabilities in workshops in STIAS. Our colleagues from India will be flying in next week, and then we will also sign off on our blueprint documents for phase 1. From March until June, our colleagues in India will then we'll be doing the configuration for the phase 1 capabilities. July to August, we will start doing conference room pilots with some of you in this room that will be attending, that will give us feedback. We will do user acceptance testing. We will be training some of you to become trainers on the new system. This system the reach of the system is of such a nature that no single unit can take responsibility for this implementation, and we really want to empower the people at the institution use the system optimally. And then in September and until December this year, we will do user training and data migration to go into production. So just in terms of the dispersed responsibility model that we've decided to use, we're using the RACI model. Many of you will be familiar with this, where we've identified accountable, responsible, consulted and informed parties throughout the institution. And those are the people that will help us deliver on this project. So briefly, the responsible people within the institution will typically own a capability or be responsible for a capability. They will consult with stakeholders that have been identified, and together these groupings of people will work through our blueprint documents, will come to a consensus decisions as to what those documents should entail. That will then be fed to our vendor, Ceresoft in India. There will be an iterative process of toing and froing, finalizing those documents, which in the end needs to be signed off by what is called the capability owners or the accountable people. And they are typically maybe your senior directors. I'm thinking of Christelle Fate, who's Senior Director of Access. Celeste Nell will be the responsible person for admissions. And that is the way that we hope to speed up our process so that everything isn't driven by a single unit, but also to create ownership and to really empower our colleagues to use the system. And then, of course, once we start with our user acceptance testing and our conference room pilots, our informed stakeholders will come on board and will participate in those. So we want to go live in 2021, in January. These are the 8 capabilities that we need to deliver on. So I'm thanking you in advance for your support and participation and patience, which will definitely be needed. And I hope to give you a good progress report when we speak again. Thank you so much.
Goedemiddag collega's, good afternoon colleagues. I would like to inform you about the status of our SunFin project. So we will look at the context of the SunFin or the Oracle Cloud financial product that we are transforming to, what you can expect and what we need from you. We want to say goodbye to the black screen coming from 1989. And somebody just informed me that the countdown is 10 months and 14 days to the 4th of January 2021. So we want to say hello to a user-friendly web-based interface to the financial system, automated financial transactions enabled by workflow, improved financial reporting and analytics, and importantly, access to the financial system anytime, anywhere, from your web-enabled device. Just to give a little bit of information about what we need to transform from the current financial system to the new cloud-based system. We got about 2.3 million general ledger entries annually, approximately 91,000 assets, and nearly 870,000 cost center account combinations. So what is our priorities for this year is to configure Oracle Cloud Financials, in other words, different to customize as we used to with the old system, integrate our key peripheral systems with Oracle Cloud Financials. There's about 53 of them. That's something like our HR system, bursaries and loans, our transport services system, and others. We want to free up functional resources, and we're busy with that process to focus on the SunFin deliverables, collaborate with Sun Student in terms of their milestones, as just indicated by Runel. Very importantly is to train the financial end users on Oracle Cloud Financials, and to also maintain our sales levels to faculties and past divisions. It might take a little bit longer, a day longer, and you will see that we're redistributing responsibilities, but we will inform you continuously. So if you send the email, you will see who will be helping you with that specific request. So what can you expect for 2020? We will have a roadshow to the finance end users in April and our iteration 2 review workshops. That will mean that we will not be able to make changes to the current financial system. We will have to bear with that for the rest of 2020. And then, as we've planned in our detailed project plan, we will have thorough end user training during the period October to more or less middle of December. And I must say we got a very good change management process and the strategy under the chairmanship for the committee responsible for that of one of our faculty managers. And then the important one, reaching after the countdown, is for January 2021. We want to go live in budget, in scope, and with competent users. And very important also is the hypercare period that we're planning just after go live to support our end users. So what we need from you in 2020 is the understanding that SunFin is a priority. We will keep you informed. I must say that this is a team effort, and we are experiencing real support, commitment, and cooperation from all the users and people involved in the whole process. And we will then keep you updated. Our webpage will give you all the channels that we use for those updates. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so lots of things, eh? HR, Sun Student, SunFin, things are coming together, and it's in line with our Vision 2040. And as we want these core strategic themes, as we emphasize them and as we want to achieve them, so the more they're aligned, the more they will bear fruit. And I just want to add also that the implementation of 2 new such systems, such as Sun Student and also SunFin, are major projects for any large institution. So they really need our support over the next year, and they certainly have the leadership support to get this done. We can't even think of it not working, and not working from 1st of January next year. So, folks, this is the Stellenbosch University we are building. This is a strong brand that's universally recognized and respected. You're familiar with the Vision 2040. This is what we want to achieve. But, as I said at the staff assembly in August last year, we face competition. And competition from ourselves, as you can see in this slide. So collega's, wat julle hier sien en wat ek laas vir julle gewys het, is maar net 'n paar van die meer as 170 handelsmerke wat gebruik word in ons verskillende omgewings. Hulle is almal aan die US verbonde, maar mense sou dit skaars weet. So it's a bit of a mess. To put it mildly, colleagues, we are diluting our own brand and we're weakening our ability to make sense of who we are as an institution and our aspiration to build an impeccable reputation as set out in our vision and mission. So that's why we decided to move towards a monolithic brand architecture. So what does that mean? Well, there's only one Stellenbosch University. So there can only be one Stellenbosch University brand. And at the moment, this is the visual identity expressing our brand which is our centenary logo, and we placed a moratorium on the development of any new logos and then started a process of reviewing our visual identity. And remember, the idea is to migrate from this current fragmented house of brands and logos to a unified monolithic brand architecture. But what should that be? What form should our unified monolithic brand architecture take? So let's start by considering the purpose. What are we trying to do about the purpose of refreshing the SU brand? And the end goal is to facilitate institutional transformation in the direction of the desired future for SU as expressed in the Vision 2040 through two things: a relevant brand positioning and a visual identity that accurately reflects how we see ourselves and how we want others to see us. So, what are some of the best practice examples in this regard? So, internationally, we see retention of a heritage crest plus a modified version for brand applications, as Harvard has done. Johns Hopkins University, there's a substantial shift from the traditional crest shield element in the top left there to a modern crest interpretation and updated color application. Leading South African universities, this is University of Pretoria, they've retained their crest application as part of their branding, but in many instances we see that institutions have battled to differentiate and stand out from competitors. The University of Cape Town has adopted a similar crest application, but introduced a distinctive cyan blue in their identity. Now this brings us to the million-dollar question: which direction do we take with our visual identity? And if we take our cue from best practice internally and locally, then we should retain the best of our past, yet at the same time innovate and move forward. So that is why the proposal is for us to go with a crest logo. So you can see on the left there, it means retention of our heraldic crest for academic and ceremonial applications only, and the development of a new crest with a simplified design, including elements from the heraldic crest as simplified design as our everyday logo, as you see on the right. So that's a new crest with simplified design and the principles as the logo. So the details are still being worked out. But why do we want to modernize the crest? Because three things. We want to retain the heritage and the status. We want to retain a sense of establishment, of belonging. And we also want to bring in new meaning and resonance for all our stakeholders, of whom we have nearly 240,000 alumni. There will be a monolithic application of the brand across the institution. And this slide shows a model example of how it could still play out. It has to be refined in more detail, but it will take cognizance of the complexity of the institutional structures. But you'll see there will be a monolithic application across the institution amongst various levels. So there's the academic brand, where there'll be the crest. On the second level, there's the corporate brand. It will be simplified crest with, on the right-hand side, Stellenbosch in big letters, and then University as said. And on the level 3, the faculties and the various academic departments within the university, and level 4, the rigid endorsed entities, which will have this simplified crest, which will be the business school, Innovus, Mati Sport, etc., etc. All these 170 others that we saw. So the first, where are we in the process in this brand refresh, is that the first 3 steps have been completed. Our refreshed visual identity is currently being developed. The next step is approval by June at the council meeting in June. Then a new brand manual and toolkit will be rolled out in August. And then from August 2020 onwards, we'll have our refreshed brand. And it's goodbye to the current one that you see there, the Blarky that's going to fly away. So that's exciting times, but it's not all. So ons kyk ook opnuut na ons teenwoordigheid op die web. Want ons webwerf moet ons identiteit uitdra en dit moet weerspieël wie ons is en wat ons doen. And we decided it's time for a brand new website of top-notch quality. So we're redesigning our website, and folks, we need your help in this. You would have received an email this week asking you to participate in a survey. I did mine immediately. It's the best time to do it. When you get it, just do it. And please share your opinions and make suggestions. And the process will be managed by our corporate communications division in collaboration with other environments. And a website redesign panel has been established with representations from the various faculties and past divisions. And I wish them well, because we hope this is not going to be a quick fix, but we hope to have a brand new world-class website by the end of 2021 at the latest. So, as I said, exciting times, folks. So, thank you very much. So I'll be glad to, Prof. Nico will help me, but I'll be glad to take some questions for a few minutes or so.
About 10 minutes.
Folks are so excited they are contemplating all these things deeply, or they're contemplating lunch. Front here.
Thank you, colleagues. Good afternoon. Sean Simmons from Modern Sport. I've got 3 questions. I'm taking advantage of my time. The first is with regards to staff wellness. And my question is there a dedicated budget and plan to action the strategic objective? The second is about the article in terms of what us as a university are doing to attend to our blind spots. That is reported to as, in my judgment, no intention to do harm. My last question is around our employer of choice, to truly understand what the definition thereof. And in my judgment, what I saw was 2 slides or 2 pictures of individuals that stepped up. And just to truly understand what our definition is of that strategic objective. Thank you.
So it's going to be very easy for me to answer that, because I'm going to pass it right on to firstly Prof. Nico and then Prof. Kluter.
So, thank you for the one on the budget as well. You know, as a colleague, I don't know whether Nicolette van den Eikel is here. She wouldn't mind that I quote her. She always, when we serve in a task team, she said, Nico, we must make sure that we formulate things in such a way that it makes financial sense. When we report, people must clearly see, but we need to put some finding behind the report. So on a serious note, we at the university have this cliche, which is a serious cliche. The budget must follow the strategy. But behind the strategy is even the people. The strategy cannot be materialized without the people. So the importance of this plan is also that we go to the rectorate in the end so that we can also come and make suggestions about budgetary implications. And that is the commitment. Employer of choice is used in different ways. One concrete document that we have in place that gives some pointers for thinking about employer of choice is the employee value proposition of the university, where we clearly indicate that if you work at Stellenbosch University, you must have the sense of belonging, the sense of recognition, the sense that your talents will be developed here, that you can perform optimally, that you are recognized in terms also of incentives, in terms of remuneration, in terms of benefits, and we continuously work very hard to ensure that in that sense then also we are competitive in the broader higher education market and also compared to the so-called private sector. The work that this task team is doing is to really work to get to inclusive definitions of health, to include different dimensions of health and also different dimensions of well-being. And the employee value proposition impacts on how we define both health and well-being. So I want to stress the notion of employer of choice might sound on the one hand triumphalistic, but it is really used as a sort of aspiration. That is what we want to be. We want you to wake up in the morning and to say, I have energy to drive to Stellenbosch and to work there and to take that beautiful rainbow picture.
Thank you very much, Nick. If we can have a mic given to Prof. Klute. I would, the latest staff climate and staff wellness survey that was launched and the results of that, I was quite buoyed by that. So it's a scale of 1 to 4. So folks, you know me as a glass half full person. But I thought the top results we got, as was pointed out, in terms of the positive marks for staff engagement, commitment, also that Stellenbosch is an institution on a journey of transformation. But I think extremely important is that the positive marks that we got for that people found meaning in their work. Now that is something that you don't always get, and is the single largest prognosticator in large corporations for success actually, is that people actually do find meaning in their work. And that's, I think we can really build on that as we go forward. Eugene?
Thank you, Richard. Thanks, Sean, for the question. So what is happening is the implementation of the resolution of Senate that they took last year. And one was to accept the code of conduct, which I actually referred to there, and implement that. And then also to do training of all our students and staff, and to ensure that our ethics committee are properly trained and also supported. We already got some funding from the strategic fund to buy out the time of the chairs of our committees. It involves a huge amount of responsibility and work. It takes for a chair easily 40% of their time to serve on these committees. And also to look at some other incentives for our senior staff to serve on our ethics committees. So it's basically implementing the resolution of Senate taken last year.
Thank you very much, Eugene. And I thank you for also your really focusing our mind on some of blind spots. I think that's a very important topic, and that we always, as we, in our daily surroundings, that we think, well, you know, things are so clear seemingly to us, but is there something we're actually missing? And the article clearly pointed that out. And also the anti-gender-based violence aspect. There's some blind spots that we need to address and be cognizant of. Any other pressing questions? Sorry.
Mr. Director, it's also regarding the employer of choice. I just want you to give us the assurance that the support staff will be treated exactly the same as academic staff. I can see there's a lot of flaws in the HR policies. I can see this career, proper career guide, and proper career going for academic staff.
Yeah, thank you very much. In short, the answer is yes. That is our aim. Absolutely. So in conclusion, so folks, I think you can see that it is indeed exciting times at Stellenbosch University. We continue to be an institution with great possibilities and opportunities. There was another result from Times Higher Education ranking that came out yesterday on emerging universities from emerging economies, and we are marching up the ranks. We're maintaining our position there as 24th. And I think you need to realize this is a zero-sum game. There's a healthy competition and jostling amongst these spots. So if somebody moves up or stays the same, somebody moved down. So it's quite, we're doing well in certainly in that ranking. Personally, it's an honor for me to lead this institution on its new journey and further into the second century. And I'm looking forward to my second term, which will start on the 1st of April. Yet, brave again, April Fool's Day. But really, this is all about a team effort. So I really want to thank all of you for your cooperation and support. And I want to pay special tribute here today to Dr. Jerome Slamat, who will be retiring at the end of the month as executive manager in the rectorate. Muhammad Sheikh will be taking over from him. And I want to thank Jerome for his many years of dedicated service to the institution. Every day when I come into the office, I ask Jerome, hoe gaan het vandag? En sê, elke dag is 'n meesterstuk. So, Jerome, all the best for your next journey. Thank you, Colonel.